He covered the 2000 Olympics, a highlight of his 45-year run in the business, the second longest of continuous sportscasting in St. Louis history, eclipsed only by Jack Buck. What I've learned most from Ron, how to be a great husband and father. I've admired for years how he cared for his mother, the trips he took with his wife Lois, the love they share, how he beams with pride when he talks about his grandchildren and his sons. And I'll never forget seeing them and attending the Missouri Sports Hall of Fame induction in Springfield. And just above his family on stage was Ron. He was looking out over the crowd. I walked up to the dais. He smiled. He stuck out his hand to shake mine. I can only dream that someday I can retire on my own terms with the grace and class of Ron Jacober. Ladies and gentlemen, the Hyland Hummel Award for Meritorious Service to Sports, Ron Jacober.
This is really special for me because I don't think the writers rarely hear this from a broadcaster, to be honored by writers. You know, it's really special because of the great respect and admiration I have for what they do. You know, we work in the same trenches, we chase the same stories, but when the lights go off, the big lights in the stadium and the arena, the broadcasters are usually in bed or in a bar. The broadcasters, there's only one light left on in the stadium and the arena, and that's in the press box, where they're banging away at the stories, trying to meet that ever-present deadline. And the next morning, I'm not embarrassed to admit, I read the sports section from cover to cover, and I always learn something from them. It's also very special because one name on this award, and that's Rick Hummel. I have so much respect for the commish. I'm really one of the lucky ones having the opportunity to call or cover almost everything in this market for 45 years. Often people will ask me about my favorite sports. And of those 45 years, 27 of them have been KMOX, which is one of the greatest radio stations in the world, folks, believe me. Working in that place is absolute dream. But often people will ask me about my favorite sport, and I usually lie. I tell them whatever is in season. That's really not the truth. I really like hockey. I've done a lot of games. I like basketball. I've done hundreds of soccer games and football. But I'm here tonight to make a confession. My favorite always has been and always will be baseball. Like most boys, when I was growing up in a small town over in southern Illinois in Hyland, I had big baseball dreams. My neighbor across the street, his name was Bruce, and we would, on warm summer evenings, play catch in the street. You could do that in a small town until it was too dark to see the baseball. There was an empty lot near us, and several of us kids would go up to this empty lot, and we'd play ball. No uniforms, no coaches, no umpires, no parents yelling at the umpires. We would just play ball. Then in high school, I thought I was a pretty good infielder. I could hit a bit. In my senior year, there was a scout at one of our games. Now, he was not there scouting me. I wanted to point that out. He was there to check out another kid. But I had a pretty good day. And after the game, he was sitting in the bleachers behind this dusty baseball field. A few people were talking to him. And I tended to walk up to him, but I didn't say anything. He looked at me and said, "Son, I think I know what you're going to ask." He said, "You can hit a little, but all I can say is I had to time you from first to third with a sundial." You are slow. So I suggest you pick another sport. Well, I played basketball, but I was a foot too short to be any good in that, too. So I guess that's how I eventually wound up in front of a camera and behind a microphone. It was an event for a Cardinal game to be on television, and all of them were road games. Gussie Bush would not allow us to televise a home game because he thought it shouldn't give away something you could sell. So 30 games a year. And I was a young pup there, and I did a pregame show creatively called The Dugout Show. Jay Randolph would do the games on Channel 5 with Jack Buck and Mike Shannon occasionally. But Jay also worked for NBC and did golf and football. So I think it was my second year there, and Jay had a conflict. And they said, "Ron, you're going to do the Cardinal Cub game in Wrigley this weekend." I said, "Oh, my God." So I went to Wrigley, sitting in that small broadcast booth at Wrigley Field, sitting next to the legend Jack Buck, I thought, this is probably about as close to heaven as I'm going to get while on this earth. About the third inning, Jack, doing the play-by-play, looked at me and said, "Kid, you want to do some play-by-play, didn't you?" I said, "Well, yes, sir." So he got up and left the booth. There I was. Thanks to Whitey and the team that he put together, the Cardinals won the World Championship in 1982, and I did some games that year. And the Cardinals graciously gave the 6 announcers on radio and television a World Series ring. Now, I didn't wear it around the players for a long time. I was kind of embarrassed. I didn't really earn this. But now I wear it instead of a wedding ring. Prompting my wife to ask, "Are you married to baseball? So you love baseball more than me?" The only response I could think of is, "Well, I love you more than football." She understands. I'm just an idiot. Opening day is coming up. Remember, it's a holy day of obligation in this town. It's a holy day of obligation. So thanks again to the writers. I will treasure this and enjoy this great celebration of baseball here tonight. Thank you.